Yep, that's it. And let's get into today's episode, shall we? I originally planned for like that little bit of music playing to happen anytime between 10:30 and 10:45, but with all the technical difficulties and me explaining stuff, it ended up happening later, but it's alright. Better late than never. Let's properly start today's episode. And if you guys have to leave midway or you find it boring, yes, and you decided to leave midway, but then you want to check out what else I actually said during the episode, then this live stream replay, I will put it up on my channel after the end of today's live stream I did before. So if you guys can stay the whole way, then definitely you can go back and check out the rest of it. Well, just anytime after this live stream is finished, like check back like another day or whenever you're free, really. And then, yeah, enough of jibber jabber and waffling about nonsense. Let's get right into it. I think I already said that 3 times, but 3rd time is the charm, so we're actually going to start today. Right now, right here. And what I actually want to talk about, first of all, don't know if you guys saw the name of today's podcast. It's the One and Only podcast. The one and only podcast you should be listening. Oh, of course not. There are plenty more other podcasts you should be listening and watching, and probably are better than mine, especially in this current state. But this name has something special about it, because it is actually the old name of my YouTube channel. If you guys have been following my channel for a significant amount of time, I think it's, let me see. I think I changed my channel name sometime like a year ago. I think it's when I came back. Actually, might not have been a year. It might have been like around like half a year or a little more than that. It's sometime after I came back from uni, I believe. I could be terribly wrong, but yeah, that is probably when I changed it into what it is now, josephwanmusic. But before that, it's actually called the One and Only Joseph, I believe. I think that's what it is called. But yeah, that name has a special ring to it. It's actually a nickname that my roommate gave me. Well, my ex-roommate. I don't have a roommate right now. I am the king of my room. I'm sharing with nobody, and I don't want to share with nobody. I'm a selfish person. Gosh, I can't speak English still to this day. But yeah, nah, I'm just kidding. But it's my roommate in college, and I forgot what the context is, but he gave me this funny nickname, the One and Only, and I liked it. It's actually pretty cool, and I don't know why I never thought of it like my entire life till the moment he mentioned it. But I heard it and it's like, it's funny at the first, like it's funny on first listen, and then I think about it, it's actually pretty cool. So I ended up using it for my channel, ended up using it for my Instagram handle, and I just didn't change. All I'm left is to change my legal name into the one and like from Joseph Wanton to Joseph the One and Only, which probably would be more interesting and a little more eye-catching. So maybe I will still do that. I'm not sure, but yeah, just want to bring it up. That's what my channel used to be called, the One and Only Joseph. And I started my around 3 years ago, I believe. Yeah, around 3 years ago. And that was when, let me see. That was during the middle of my freshman year. Yep, the middle of my freshman year. And before that, I haven't really been posting a lot of me playing music. I have been playing music my entire life. I just haven't been posting a lot of that. And before me going into high school, like before that, anytime before that, from 4 years old when I started learning the piano up till around 14 or 15, I've been playing like majorly classical music. So mainly just classical music. I don't really listen to any like pop music or like contemporary music or whatsoever. I actually just don't listen to music that much back then, which is kind of ironic and funny and unexpected to maybe a lot of people, because it's like, you're the music guy. Like, for people that don't know me personally, just from maybe my social media or my channel, that's like, you're the guy that covers music. You're the guy that covered that famous Korean K-pop band. So I would assume music. But back then I actually did not listen to music a lot, to a lot of people's surprise maybe. And actually to my own surprise also, like when I think about it, it's kind of weird that to me that play music that much, I actually don't listen to that much music. Like, not contemporary, not classical, not any, to be honest. And there's only a handful of singers and bands that I listen to, and some of them I can't even remember or name right now, because it's been like, it's too far back in my life, and my memory just doesn't retrace to, not even back to middle school sometimes. But that is not the main point. When I went to high school, I started listening to more music, and I don't exactly remember what that shift was. Like, why did I start listening to more music? I think it's just that more people are talking about music around me, or it's that I actually don't know. Like, now that I think of it, I don't actually like recall what made that change. But I guess at least that change happened. That's all that I know right now. As to what made that change happen, then maybe I can get onto it another time when I remember it. But then I started learning how to play the guitar then as well. That was after I stopped piano lessons, because my piano teacher does not want me to learn how to play the guitar. Because if you play the guitar, those of you that play guitar knows that your fingers will grow calluses, especially on your left hand when you're pressing the guitar string. And it's going to intervene with me playing the piano, with how like sensitive and precise my touch is on the keys. And that is something that is actually really important in terms of classical music. Like, you have to be really precise and really sensitive, and the dynamics and the touch, it has to be really fine and delicate. And once you grow calluses, you can't really get to that top level. So my piano teacher always said that, okay, don't learn the guitar, don't try to play the guitar. You already play the viola, which is already going to like damage your hand a bit. So don't try the guitar, which is going to damage your hand even more. And it makes sense, but I always wanted to learn the guitar because it felt like piano is a cool instrument, yes. If you play it well, it's a cool instrument. But it feels like if you play guitar, you get girls. Like, those people that play guitar gets girls, not the ones that play piano. It's always the guy that plays guitar. Okay, that might be a false assumption. I believe that might be a false assumption, because in my case, after I played the guitar, it didn't change anything. I didn't get any girls. It didn't change anything at all. That's not the main point. But it's just that the guitar is something different, and it's also a lot more widely used in music nowadays. So I felt like if I want to like play music nowadays, I would want to learn the guitar and play on the guitar as well. So I started that in high school, and back then I did not have my channel. I did not even think about like starting a YouTube channel back then. But I did have a video of me covering a song on the electric guitar. That is my first video, I believe, on Facebook, where I covered or played something and recorded it. Something that's music related, pretty much. And I'm not going to bother finding it today. It's going to take a little time. So you guys can go find my YouTube account. And I don't know, did I set my account to private or public, but I don't think that really matters. But if you want to like check that out for some reason, then you can go. But I need to check on my other screen. I mean my other tab. I don't have an extra screen. I need to check on my other tab just to make sure. I think we're back. And yeah. Also, for today's stream, I set it to normal latency, so there will be more of a delay than what it normally is. I'm not sure is that also contributing to the lag that I'm having right now. I'm not sure. If you stream or you know about that, you can let me know if that is a cause of the issue as well. But that also means that I just have more delay in terms of responding to any of your comments in chat. So just letting you guys know. And I'm not sure when I cut out, but I'll get back to probably the Facebook part. Yeah. Hopefully that isn't too far off from where my stream paused. But yeah, let's get back to it. And yeah, that was my first video on Facebook. But like after posting that, I did not actually think about like getting that video out to more people. It just felt like something I want to share with people that I know. And I don't think I'm actually, like with the electric, I was never that good. I was like at most not even average, like in my opinion. Like me on the electric guitar, I'm below average, like definitely. So I don't think that is remotely good enough to be shared to the public. So I just left it on Facebook, just sharing to my friends. And after that, I might have posted like 1 or 2 more videos, yeah, of me singing or playing something, but it's not a lot. I'm going to go on my Facebook and I'm going to check my video album. Unfortunately, I did not set up my stream so that you guys can see what I'm looking at right now. I will make that change next time to make sure I'll fix that. But if I can scroll down to the very bottom of my list, I did, I think, two videos. No, actually 4, my bad. 4 videos. I did 4 videos on my Facebook. I posted 4 of them. 2 of them on my electric guitar, which is now sitting at the corner rusting. And I really need to find a time to clean it up and fix it. I always say that, but I never actually do it, which is a shame. And I really need to do it. And hopefully, one day, I'll actually force myself to do it. But yeah, I did 4 videos before I started my channel. Only 4, across like, I think 3 years. Which is a lot less compared to how much I post right now. But yeah. Also, before I continue, if you guys have any comments or any questions, feel free to chat in the chat as we normally do. Just that today, for this portion, it will be less interactive. But if you have any comments or questions, then feel free to leave it in. And when I see them, and I'll try to respond them as soon as possible, unless they are like completely off topic, then I might keep an eye on it and then respond to it later on. But yeah, now let's get back to it. So I kept playing still. I still kept playing on my own. I still enjoy playing and singing on my own. But it just feels a little bit embarrassing of getting my stuff out there. Until it was the middle of my freshman year, I forgot exactly what made that change for me. It's been a while, so I forgot why did I think that I wanted to do it at that time exactly. But I think it's just that there are friends around me or people around me that knows that I play music, and I'm pretty sure that there were people that encouraged me to start my own channel and do it. I probably thought about it and said that, nah, I don't think I'm good enough. I don't think I can compete. And they're like, nah, just put it out there. And I began to think about, yeah, maybe I should, put my stuff out there. And then I started thinking about it, and at a point I also thought that maybe it's not even so much of me putting my stuff out there, but me leaving a record of stuff that I played, videos or music that I played before, so that I can look back at it in the future and see, oh, I actually played this song. I actually played this before. And I actually sounded good in this video, or actually did horribly in that cover. It's just record and memories in video form in music. And I thought, yeah, why not? So I remember when I started my channel, I already have a few videos installed because I was already thinking about it for a while. And then I started posting, And then I obviously got my friends around me to try to subscribe to me. And at first it was like, okay, I think my stream cut out again. I can see that little little red box at the bottom right of my OBS saying that there's no signal. I hope it's not going that bad. It's stuttering a bit, I think. And really apologies to you guys because of the poor internet connection I'm experiencing that is probably affecting your viewing and listening experience a little bit. Hopefully it's not too big of an issue, but we're going to continue. Yep. And yeah, so I had a few videos kept in store. I got maybe like 10 or 20 people subscribing at that time, and not a lot of views, definitely. And then I did a cover of a Korean song. It is Time Something Something by Nell, Nell. It's a Korean singer. And I actually did not hear the song from the original singer. I heard a version covered by another, I think, Korean K-pop idol, I believe. I think it's Sunkyo from Infinite. I don't think you guys know who that is anyways, but just putting it out there. Yeah, I heard that and I'm like, that's a really cool song. I should learn how to play it. I just heard that song. I'm like, that's a cool song. I need to learn how to play it. And so I learned how to play it, and then I think I did alright. In the cover, I did not do that well, like in retrospect when I listened back to it. But then at that time I thought, okay, I played pretty well. In retrospect, I was like, I played pretty well. I think it sounds pretty nice. I can put it out there, I guess. And I decided to record me playing that cover, and it was quite challenging, honestly, because it's a challenging song to play, and it's quite a long one. It's a 6-minute cover, which is quite long in like song standards. If you look at today's pop songs, like most of them are any length between like 2.5 minutes for the shortest to like 5 minutes the longest, probably, or like 4:30. Yeah, 4 minutes 30. The 6-minute cover is rather long. And Anchor, hello. I probably messed up your name. I probably messed it up before. I'm probably messed it up this time as well. So apologies, because you can't really help me pronounce your name right. But hello, good to see you here. And yeah, so that's the 4th video I did. And even looking at the numbers now, it's also the one that did the best. And it's quite sad, honestly. The cover that did the best amongst the 4 is only getting a few hundred views, which is not a lot at all. But you guys can see. I think you guys can see on screen. Yeah. So I kept these 3 covers, the videos of these 3 songs before I started my channel, and then I posted all 3. And I did this one. As you guys can see, the max 300 something. This got like 600 something views, which is quite a jump. And oh god, my video cut out again. I don't know exactly where. Hopefully. Let's see. Where was I again? Yep, video, yeah. So this 4th cover, I got more views than before. And while you really shouldn't be looking at numbers too much when you are managing a channel, whether it's on YouTube or on other platforms, maybe you're a streamer or you're a content creator on other platforms, on Instagram maybe. Looking at numbers can really, looking at numbers too much can really affect your mood. Looking at numbers appropriately can help you plan out what to do and how to improve and how to maybe get your content out better and get more people seeing your content. But looking at numbers too much, it's going to affect you in a bad way. But at that time, it was a positive effect because it was good response, good numbers, and I thought, okay, there are actually more people than I expected that saw my cover. So I was like, okay, I'm going to continue to do it to do it. And I played a lot of different songs. Like, by that I mean I played a lot of different genres and languages. So I covered Korean songs, English songs, Cantonese songs, Mandarin songs. Like, the first 5 covers that I did, first 2 are Canto, third one is English, fourth one is Korean, fifth one is Mandarin. And then the 6th one is an improv, which is when I couldn't think of what song I want to cover and I did an improv instead, which did alright. And my idea back then was that I know there are songs that certain of groups of people like, and I know there are songs that other people did not listen to before, and I don't know why I thought I could have that much influence, and which I really don't. But what I thought was like, okay, maybe some people would listen to like maybe my K-pop cover on a K-pop song, and then maybe they'll actually like follow my channel instead of just listening to that cover, and through that I can introduce them to other songs, like maybe a Cantonese song, an English song that they might not have heard before, and they might find out that they actually enjoy that song as well and find something different. And I think it's that I wanted to create like a platform at that time, and obviously easier said than done. Not that many people will watch you, especially with music, because it's too saturated and it doesn't exactly like go well with the YouTube algorithm unless you are famous, or unless you do other stuff as well. But yeah, it's hard to do music on YouTube. It's hard to do YouTube in general unless you really seize your opportunity, and then also there's also luck aspects. If one of your videos blew up and then you manage to ride that wave and continue on, then you'll get somewhere. But if that wave never happened, or if you didn't ride that wave, then it's hard for you to get back on to that wave again. But yeah. And I really don't like how my stream is like stuttering right now with the connections, but guess I have to deal with it. And then with that idea also came the idea of introducing people to worship music, worship songs, because as a Christian myself, I felt like I want to because this is something that is really important to me. Like objectively, it is supposed to be the most important part of me and my life, and like above everything else. And I felt like if I am starting a channel and I don't talk about God, if I don't talk about Jesus, if I don't talk about my belief, then it doesn't feel exactly right. And it feels like, other than that, it's also something that I wanted to do. Like, I want to introduce that to other people, but I was never good at like evangelizing verbally, or like doing that in person, like talking to another person. I think I've gotten a little better at that, like now. But back then, I would say that I was socially awkward, like actually socially awkward. And I was thinking, in what way can I do it? And then I was thinking, I can play music. I can play the piano. I can, this is something that I am good at doing and that I'm confident in. And why not use that? Like, if I'm not confident in speaking to other people, but I'm confident in playing music, then why do I not look less of what I'm not good at doing, but look more at what I'm good at doing and try and figure out a way to incorporate what I'm good at doing into doing something that I am normally afraid of doing. That's a lot of doing in that sentence just now. I think that applies for everyone. Like, you are good at something and you're not good at something, and what you're good at might not be what other people are good at. And with that is that you have something unique about yourself. But there's also other people like you out there that are good at something that you're good at, or relate to something that you relate to, but doesn't relate to how other people relate to other things. And sometimes it's not like that we have to follow other people and what they're good at and how they do it, but to do it in a way that suits us and suits our own strengths. And yeah, the world is not like a black and white place with rules on how you're supposed to do things. There are plenty of ways to do things, and different ways relate to different people. And yeah, don't know why I got on that rabbit trail, but I've just felt like talking about that a little bit. Yeah, so that's why I also started including worship songs in the mix. But mainly at that time, that was just like another like thing that I would add to my channel, and it's more so like, honestly, if I have to be completely honest, it was just me trying to make myself feel better and not feel bad for not like including God in something that I'm doing. Yeah, it's honestly just that. It's nothing like not something like, I don't know, admirable or impressive or respectable even. It's really just for the sake of me feeling that I'm doing the right thing, I guess. Which, not the best motivation, but it is a motivation still. And that's why I started doing that. And at the point that I'm like working the hardest, so-called, during college, I think I did, let me see. Because let me see, actually, let me look at my videos. Because I put hashtags in them, and I dedicate like certain day, like a day in the week for like a specific language or like category. So for example, Monday it would be Chinese songs. So I have a Chinese Monday hashtag that I used before, which is kind of weird like to think about it now, Chinese Monday. But yeah. And then Korean Japanese Wednesday, where I cover either K-pop song mainly from that one group, Day6, or a Japanese song which is mainly just from that one group, One OK Rock. Pretty much I just listen to two groups mainly, honestly. Or I just cover those two groups, yeah. And then it would be English Friday, if I'm correct. Yep, English Friday. And then after that, it would be Worship Sunday. Or is it a different hashtag? Is it Worship Sunday? Yes, it is Worship Sunday. And so I'll be doing 4 videos, like 4 covers a week. Which sounds a lot. It's not actually that much, because back then all I use is my phone. Not this one, the older one. Even like worse in video and audio quality, but you work with what you have. No, I do is I take my phone, I go into a practice room and I start playing, and when I get a good take, I take that and I post it on the day. And yeah, that's what I did. And that continued on pretty much all the way till I graduated college. Because that's all the equipment I have, that's really all how I thought I like can do my videos at that time. I have other ideas, but I never had the courage to try out new ideas, or have the time, or even have the equipment and all sorts to do any of that. So I was just like, I'll stick to what I have and stick to what I'm good at. And I got 2 videos that, like, they didn't actually pop off. Like, videos that go viral, you have to get at least like maybe 500,000 views. Mine, like, the most I got in a video is 12,000 now. Yeah, 12,000 views, which is really not, like, it's not a high number at all. If you look at, like, just in a general spectrum, that's a really low number. But it's the highest, like, I got. But yeah, that, at least in my standards, like, in my low standards, I have 2 covers that popped off back then. Both from the Korean band Day6. And I think the algorithm was nice to me back then. That's why they did so well, like, at the start. And it's slightly unfortunate, I guess, that I did not ride that wave and, like, post more from that band. Because I felt like if I did post more from that band, I might have, like, my numbers might look better. But at the same time, when I think about it, it's like, I don't want to like I don't want my content to be dictated by the numbers that I'm getting. And especially since this is not a job, but more of the hobby, interest, and a side project, like personal side project, then I don't have that pressure where I need to hit a threshold of views or numbers. But it's like I only want to play songs that I actually want to play. So, or I only want to do videos that I actually want to do. So it's like, if I know that there might be a trend, but I don't personally relate to or feel like doing that trend, or like following that, then yeah, I just wouldn't do it. And there's like give and take with that, because like it's justifiable and totally makes sense and probably even smarter to do something to gain more viewership, and then so that you are more likely to be able to like get more people see what you actually want to do. Like do a video for the trend or reviews, and then do a video that you actually want to do and balance them out. That's the smart way to do it. But since right now I'm not treating it as like a job, then yeah, that's why I'm taking the approach that I'm taking right now. And like when I look at my numbers, like a lot of times, back then at least, right now it's a little different. Right now, my numbers are a little more spread out. They're lower compared to before, honestly. Like if we look at numbers that I get now, numbers from before, because I think the algorithm changed a bit, and things are a little different. And naturally, I can't like, not naturally, I guess. It's just that the videos that I can't do the same video, like the same kind of cover for the same band and still get the same numbers, even if I still post it like right after like the music video drop, because YouTube values like crazier thumbnails, crazier titles, and trends and other stuff, which is not something that really fits what I'm doing. And yeah, so naturally the analytics and numbers changed. But yeah, back then my worship song covers pretty much always do the worst. Like they always do the worst compared to all my other covers. And it sucks to see that, because I'm like, I want people to see my like K-pop cover, like on day 6. I want people to see my day 6 cover, obviously. And I know that it'll probably perform better, a lot better than a worship song cover. But then what I really hope is that people that saw that cover there's a chance that they might stay and like find my worship song cover that I post like a few days after, and hear about that and know that, oh, he's playing a worship song. What's up with that? And yeah, maybe starting like piquing someone's interest in what Christianity is. But they always do worse, and it makes sense. It's not like when people click your video, doesn't mean that they stay on your channel. So the conversion rate isn't that high. So it makes a lot of sense. But then it's kind of like, it's a bummer, and it sucks a little bit, like when you think about it. But then I guess it's just that you have to like hold on to what you want to do. Like what I want to do is I want to also share that part of me, that part of that message of what I think is important. So that's why I kept doing it. And yeah, so till this day, quite a lot has changed actually since I came back. I began to do more than just covers. Like right now, actually, I don't even do that many covers. Like right now, when I think about it, yeah, I really don't. Like right now, I just do, like in my current schedule, I just do one cover a week, and I do my stream, and then I do my vlog, and then yeah, and then a worship song cover, which is quite different from what I did before. And it's just me experimenting with different things and different things that I want to do, different videos that I want to try. And like even this is something like me trying something different, and like it might not do well, it might do a lot worse than my other streams, it might not like be as interesting, but it's something that I wanted to try, and it's something that I actually wanted to try for a while, but I never got the motivation to do it. But today, like, now that I kind of got some motivation, I'm like, it's okay. It doesn't really, like, it's fine if not that many people like it. It's fine if it doesn't perform that well. It's fine. Like, either way, it's fine. But I still want to try it. Like, if I keep worrying about how it's going to do and not do it, then what's the point? What's the point of worrying that much? That's what I tell myself, although I don't really listen to my own advice a lot. But yeah, that's how I started my channel and how things kind of shifted throughout the past year, honestly. It hasn't shifted that much at all during, like, my years in college. The only thing that changed during college is that I started posting original songs. And that's because I didn't start writing, like, original songs till when? When was that? Till, like, let me think. It was till sometime during my second year in college. The middle of I think. Yeah, I think it's somewhere, it's in November that I wrote my first song. November 2017? Yeah, I think so. November 2017. Yeah. So, and then it actually fit quite well because at that time I already started my platform on YouTube, and I think like, I thought like, oh, might as well, I have a platform now that I can post that as well and share with other people as well. So that worked out pretty well. And yeah, I'll take a short food break and drink break right here while you guys can chat away in the chat if you have anything to say, or just stay behind and listen a bit. And again, apologies with like the constant stuttering with my stream and the video. My internet just isn't like, it's just not stable, and I don't think there's any way there's anything I can do to fix it right now. So I apologize for that, and hopefully that did not affect too much of your listening and viewing experience. Yeah, I'm going to take a short break, and then I'm going to move on to the difference between worship music and secular music. And is there actually that much difference? I don't really know. There might not be, actually. And I wanted to talk about it because obviously those are, like, I do both on my channel. I play both, and I listen to both. I sing to both. I cover to both. I enjoy them both. So what's the difference and what's the similarity between those? And I feel like I might have something that I can like say about it. So that's what I'm going to talk about in a bit. But let's take a short break. Yeah. Meanwhile, let me play some music in the background. Again, I'm just only playing my own like covers or songs to avoid copyright. So hope you guys don't mind that. I'm sure you guys don't mind that, yeah. But we will take a short, like 3 to 5 minute break. Depends on which song I chose. 3 to 7, honestly. 3 to 7 minute break. And don't go anywhere. Enjoy a bit of background music, and we'll be back for the second half real soon.
3, 2, 1.
I'm thinking about me, thinking about you, thinking about everything this year got me through. Flying over the sea, under the moon. I'm thinking about me, thinking about you, thinking how 2020's coming so soon. The future I see, like colored balloon. Thinking about 2019, lots has happened. Graduated, seen my parents, family's the most important. Hard to argue with the people, come some people go. It's not an easy lesson. Loosen my grip, give up control. Why not live in the present? To all my friends, you are my greatest present. And I know that people come and go, they won't be ever present. Singing see you again, but I don't really know when. Still I have hope in my hands, knowing that God holds my. Still living in uncertainty, isn't there really some irony? Taking a year off to think about a dream that seems too far from me. A gap from reality, praying about it religiously. They wishing and wishing, but I am still going until the day that I succeed. Until the day that I succeed. I know I got a lot of failures on my road, but I ain't trying to be perfect. I'm just trying to be me. Without a ring, I'm just a bachelor with a bachelor degree. Thinking about me, thinking about you, thinking about everything this year got me through. Flying over the sea, under the moon. I'm thinking about me, thinking about you, thinking how 2020's coming so soon. The future I see, like colored balloon. I'm thinking about me, thinking about you, thinking about everything. Flying over the sea, under the moon. I'm thinking about me, about you, thinking how 2020's coming so soon. The future I see, like colored balloon. 每一個人，每一件事，每一年經歷嘅過程，有你有我，一齊填滿咗原本空白嘅劇，低低起起跌跌，描寫緊成長嘅路程。5個5，俾個 like， 完結2019嘅旅程。唔要俾黑暗侵蝕，要做善良，靠善做到，繼續祈禱。唔要俾黑暗侵蝕，要做善良嘅自己，靠善做到。And we're back. I really should change that to not starting soon, but taking a break to differentiate the first slide from this slide. But it's okay. It's not a big deal, I suppose. But yeah, we're back. And thanks for any of you guys that stayed through the whole stream till now. And hello to anyone joining midway. And we're trying a new format today, doing a little podcast-like episode. And I don't know how I did, honestly. I can't really judge my own performance. You guys can judge. And definitely feel free to give me any feedback. Like constructive, good or bad, anything. Feel free to give me any feedback. Like after we end the episode. And it can be harsh. Like if it's a harsh feedback or harsh comment, go for it. Like I actually appreciate that if you do have any feedback, like good or bad. But yeah, let's commence with the second part, which is probably shorter than the first part because I kind of stretched things out and really just went really long-winded. I'm just a long-winded person. I actually thought about like calling this the long-winded podcast because I'm such a long-winded person, but the word itself just has too much of a negative connotation, and I feel like it's not something that I would want to really have it like on my channel saying that I have a series called the Long-Winded Podcast. It just doesn't sound right. Although there's a really successful YouTube group in the UK called the Sidemen, and the Sidemen, the word itself is actually like Asian, but like they're so successful that they themselves, when you talk about the Sidemen and mention them, it becomes a positive term because how well each one of them are doing. Like each one of them actually not all of them over 5 million subs. I don't believe so. I don't think Ethan or I'm not sure about Toby. Actually, I'm gonna go check that later. But basically they're doing well. They're doing really well as a group, and like their presence changed a word that is supposed to be negative into something positive, although it like they didn't actually change the word itself. It's just that when the word is associated with them, it turns from something negative to something positive, which is something quite interesting. I don't know why but yeah, it's quite interesting. And you can think about examples in our lives where a word is like supposed to be a negative in a certain context. Maybe you mention someone or you refer it to something and it changes the meaning. Yeah, that's not the main point for today. If you guys are interested in that, we can chat about that in a future episode. But what I want to get to in the second half of today's podcast is the difference between worship music and secular music, and is there actually a difference with that? When, like, originally, I thought about this topic because I did have that hierarchy. Actually, a very polarized hierarchy, and it shifted from one side to the other, like, across the years of my life. Like, back in middle school or high school, that's when I didn't listen to that much, like, commercial music or contemporary music or whatever. I don't really know how to classify it, cause like if we don't talk about worship music, then it would just be music. Like, there's no need to really put like a label on that. But since we're trying to like dissect this debate today, I'll put the label of secular on for now, but I'll explain why I also don't think like that label is appropriate. But we'll use that for now for the purpose of the discussion and the episode and the conversation. But yeah, just keep that in mind. Another example of me using a word but not exactly like meaning what I'm saying, I guess, in a way. But yeah, back then I thought surely worship music has to be on a higher hierarchy, because as a Christian, then obviously when like singing about God versus singing about other things, like which one is, you can't really argue for the other side, really. And me thinking that also a lot of like pop songs, pop artists, or hip hop artists, or any artists really, not all of them definitely, but they talk about things like what we like deem as important or what we want to promote or glorify. Like, that's obvious. Like, what I'm mentioning right now are extreme cases, like not exactly extreme, but I'm more generalizing, I guess. But they're like artists that talk a lot about drugs, getting girls, like spending money, like flexing what I got. Yeah, I got that. I got the eyes on my wrist, and I fuck 2 hoes or something like that. Why fuck one if I can fuck 2? Apologize for the language, but that's actually a lyric in a song. But yeah. Like, oops. My chair. Lol. But yeah, so there are like these messages that other artists promote, and I'm like, I don't agree with that. Like, I can't side with those messages, but I can definitely side with like whatever message that is talking about God. So I think we can see the difference there. Yeah, kinda. So that's what I thought. And I'm like, then I generalize a little too much because I don't listen to that much music at all at that time. So I'm like, okay, they are probably those that like any song that's not worship songs did. So I'm gonna put it on a lower rank or of less importance or worse. Worship song, it has to be right or has to be good, something like that. So that was what I thought back then. And then that kind of shifted, and it was kind of a big shift, because I also realized, like, in high school and then throughout the years, I'm like, music on its own does not, like, is not right or wrong or good or bad. Like, and it's like, just because a song isn't a worship song doesn't make it a bad song, or a song that promotes bad values, or a song that is not as good. And I'll get to the musical part later, but let me talk a little more about like the values part of it. And it's like, not all artists like promotes all that stuff. Like, they might talk about some of that, but they all, like, good artists also talks about stuff that actually has substance in it, and messages as well. And then it's like, like, worship song does not like cover all aspects of your life as well. Like, when you, like, it's easiest to think, like, because there are like love songs are probably one of the most like populated genre, and like when you fall in love with a girl, or if you're a girl, when you fall in love with a guy, does it actually like exactly feel right to say how great is like how great is our God when you find the person that you love? It is like technically yes, and we praise God when that encounter happened because that is really a blessing, and yeah, but then really feel like the right mood, and like if you're like I don't it's like let's put it this way. First of all, I do not suggest or promote sex before marriage. No. But then this is another topic. We can get to that in another episode. I don't want to get too deep into this right now. But it's like if you're a married couple, you're getting intimate with the other person. It doesn't exactly fit the mood to play a worship song. Does it? I don't know. Because I'm never in that position. I never tried that. How would I know? But like generally when you think about it, it doesn't quite feel right. So this is just a rather like peculiar example, or rather specific example. But then I just want to show like the point is that it doesn't exactly like sometimes it like a worship song can feel a little out of touch with our lives and what we like experience sometimes. It feels like it doesn't exactly talk about like the things like maybe falling in love with someone, feeling the feeling of being successful, or I'm trying to think of like specific examples, which is kind of hard, but I think you guys get the point, so I'm not gonna waste too much time doing that here. And then so that's one point, but that is not the main point, obviously. The main point to me is the musicality of songs, and like a lot of times a song that's not a worship song can sound more interesting. I don't know, like that is definitely not the case for like everyone, because music is something subjective. Like everyone listens and experiences music a different way. But then like when I listen to like a worship song versus when I listen I'm gonna use a John Mayer song for example, and I can like listen to a John Mayer song, maybe Neon, has a crazy guitar riff, and I'm like, that is really interesting. And I'm just gonna put How Great Is Our God because I use that as an example, and that's like the only song I can think of right now. It's still played it well, definitely, but it's not as interesting, maybe. Like, I have that feeling. I have that thought. So when I think about that, I'm like, maybe secular, again, quotation, music, it's better because musically, they are just better. They're on a higher level than a lot of worship songs that I listen to. Which is not the truth, really. It might be just different genres, and it's also because I don't listen to enough of worship music in general, and also another reason that I'm gonna get to like in a bit. But then like I'm just trying to explain how my hierarchy. What's this called? The scale, or dang it, I forgot what it is called. Like in Cantonese it's Tin Peng, but then what should I call it? But just the weight. Let's just say the weight. It's shifted, and like, okay, that sounds better. That sounds more. That's lit, and that might not be lit. It's good when I'm feeling like helpless, when I need to hold on to God, and I feel the need to listen to a worship song. But then maybe, I basically have that thought. And then like I kind of kept that waiting in my heart until this year when I had the conversation with a guy from an organization from called One Circle, and it's actually where I'm applying to right now to see whether I'm like going to be serving, or basically, let me call it full-time ministry, but it's pretty much getting a job. It's pretty much the same thing. Like, you can think of it as the same thing if we don't try to like explain all the difference and like all the little difference between the two, but just for the sake of the conversation, you just think of it as like a job. But yeah, so it was at that point where this waiting that I have was challenged again. Because, again, like back to my very original point, what you give to God should not be like less or worse than what you give to the world. Like, that does not make sense. It shouldn't be that way. Although a lot of things seem that way right now, it shouldn't be that way. Objectively speaking, theoretically speaking. It's like, yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense if I like switch the hierarchy in that. And then, but at the same time, it's like, there are worship songs that are just like musically uninteresting. And is that something that, not exactly. Like, if a song doesn't sound that great, if a song is boring, if a song, it's not that interesting, then musically it's not that interesting, and that is a preference, but that is also a fact. And I don't know if that makes sense. That is, like, whether you enjoy or not is a preference, but maybe, like, in terms of musical quality, and you have to, like, dissect it and analyze it in a more technical way, then yeah, maybe it really is, like, you can't argue that some worship songs just aren't as interesting. Also, there are plenty of bad songs as well, like plenty of bad non-worship songs. And then, at the same time, I still think that what my point before, like, about how worship song does not exactly, like, describe, like, our day-to-day experiences sometimes. And I still think that point is true. And that's why I try to write both, like, both worship songs and non-worship songs. Because I feel like there's still a place for commercial music or secular music, per se. And then I started thinking about it more, and then I thought to myself, like, I said to myself, does it really have to be a distinction? Like, the secular music really implies that it's not worshipful. Like, the secular music, does this label imply that it does not glorify God in any shape or form? And I feel like the label does. The label does, like, point to that. But the thing is that we don't have to have that label. We don't have to have that secular label. And technically, we don't even have to have that worship label. But the worship label exists I think it's to differentiate songs from songs that can be used in congregational worship and songs that shouldn't be used in congregational worship. For me, that is where the distinction is. And congregational worship is when you, like, worship in a church, worship with other people, like, together. Like, just pretty much what our general understanding of worship is. Because I feel like there are songs that, like, you shouldn't, like, you shouldn't sing it during, like, a worship session. It just doesn't fit that, and the message might not fit, the style might not fit, but at the same time, these songs that are not used for this occasion doesn't mean that it's something bad, like maybe something close to what I thought before, like it's something that you should toss away. It doesn't have to be that way. And when you think of it, like, I'm sure, like, for those of you that are still listening and watching right now, at least those of you that said hi, and if you guys are the same people, I don't know. Obviously, I can't tell, but I'm assuming that half of you, or more than half of you, or all of you, are not, like, gonna be in the music industry or anything, like, in that field. You'll have your own major, you have your own job or area of expertise, and that might not fit with so-called ministry worship, or at least a typical identification of those words and jobs or work. But doesn't mean that what you do isn't, like, worship, because worship isn't confined to just the few worship songs. It's not confined to Hillsong. It's not confined to Bethel. It can be a song talking about the beautiful things in life. It can be a song talking about the struggles that people have, and the struggles that you have, the emotions that you have, which are all valid. And in a way, you are, when you talk about those things in a song, you are relating to someone. And in that way, if that relating to someone helps that someone to feel listened to, related to, encouraged, or joy, or whatever, or comforted, or whatever, then that itself is also an act of service and an act of worship. As long as you're not promoting, I think the line is drawn where you are like, are you promoting stuff that is like not necessarily, I don't really like to use the word biblical because it makes it sound legalistic and very like rules and whatever. But it's like, are those things that you, how should I put it then, like values that does not align, it is kind of biblically, I guess I can still use the word biblically, but not in the sense that, in a legalistic sense, if that makes sense. But I think if you're a Christian, you will understand. I think you will understand like the point I'm trying to make. But it's just like values that does not align with God and does not align with what God tells us to do. It's not all the time like black and white what they say in the Bible, and how like it does not always extrapolate directly into the real life. But then it's like there are certain values that definitely like, if you're promoting drugs and sex, then that itself is not, it doesn't, like sex outside of marriage, obviously, like not sexism. I'm not like trying to say that every song, like in order to be biblically correct, should tell everyone to be abstinent. I think that's the word, right? Abstinent. I think that's the word. I might be completely wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, it's like, no, I think that's where the line is drawn. And besides that, there doesn't need to be a label of secular, because it does not really, you just don't need to criteria things that way. And like going back to what a lot of like non-ministry or non-worship jobs or work, like you still do that. Doesn't mean that people work in ministry are on a higher ranking, like in a Christian perspective, doesn't mean that they're in a higher ranking than people working like so-called normal jobs or regular jobs, or people like working in business and making a lot of money. That doesn't mean that they are like secular and like whoring the world and forgetting about God. It doesn't mean that. Everyone has a different position and different place in this world that we're at, and you're contributing a different way and reaching different people and doing different things. And going back to the point I mentioned before we properly start, was that before properly start? I forgot. Somewhere during like today's live stream. But it's like, you are good at doing something that others aren't, and some people might have the gift and talent to lead worship on stage. And then if you're not using that and like worshiping and leading people in worship, then what are you doing? Like, why are you wasting the gift that God gives you? But if that is not the gift that God gave you like the gift of understanding math, like understanding. I think math's a little bit hard to explain right now. I can't really think of how to explain it, but it still makes sense. But maybe understanding business and understanding the concepts and all that. Not everyone understands that, and not everyone can work in the business industry and the field. And if you are like good at that, and you can work in your field and still influence people around you by the way that you act and by the way that you work, and that is not like, you won't have a label of worship on your title, but what you're doing is still worship, as long as the mindset is right. So I think that's the main point I want to get to. It does not have to be like a worship or secular label, not even just in music, but in anything. But if your mindset is right, if how should I put it? I think that's mainly it. And like, I guess that's what really is, because everyone, your whole life is supposed to be worship. And if you're not a Christian and you're hearing me say a lot of that, and it might confuse you, and it might, I don't know. Does it come across as judgmental to any of you if you're not Christian? I don't know if anyone listening is non-Christian. That's the thing. The few of you, maybe one of you are, or maybe all of you are. I'm not sure because I don't know who you are. But I do not mean it in an offensive way. And if it's confusing and you want to, like, understand why I put things, like, why I say things the way that I did, then I might not be able to get to it today. You can actually leave your questions if you do have any in the chat. And as long as it's not something too complicated, then, or something that is beyond my understanding or ability to explain, then I can explain it right here, right now. But if you don't have any questions, or you would rather ask me privately, or accuse me privately, attack me privately, who knows, then my Instagram handle account is in the description, and you can send me a message there. And meanwhile, drop it a follow as well. Drop me a follow as well, because why not? But yeah, that's kind of, I think that wraps it up. It really, worship music versus secular, like, that is, it's not really, like, to me, that's not really a thing, because you can't really, like, categorize music that way. And yeah, so doesn't mean you shouldn't listen to some song or some artist. That's debatable, because I feel like even though maybe some artists do not promote the right message, they still have good things that you can take away. Maybe their skill is good. Maybe the music is impressive. It's cool. And, like, I feel like you can still listen to it while acknowledging that it might not have the right message or might not align with your belief. And you can still take away good things from it while just, like, not indulging or worshiping, like, if that makes sense. Like, you can still, like, listen to it definitely without, like, putting that type of music as an idol over God, because it still can be. You can call, like, call the whole, because I think in hip-hop culture there's a lot of, like, controversial things that people talk about. There are a lot of good things, there are a lot of real things, and real stuff that is actually really, like, great, honestly. But also a lot of, like, at least things that might not align with my belief. And when you think about it, it's like there's still good things about it, but just don't, like, put it on a pedestal above God, on a position above God and the values that you hold strong to. And I feel like in that way you can still enjoy that music and enjoy what's good about it. But yeah, that should be it for today's episode. And I really appreciate you guys that listened through it. I don't know whether I was boring, too long-winded, or I actually did well. I don't really know. I don't know if this topic interests y'all or not, or it might be, like, something that you are not interested to at all. I do not know, so I need your feedback. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. You guys can please let me know whether you guys enjoyed the format, enjoyed the topic or not. And if you guys enjoyed the format but did not enjoy the topic, then let me know what you want to hear me talk about. And I meant to do this before today's episode. I meant to do, like, a question on Instagram asking if you guys have any suggestions or not, but I forgot to do it. Or I procrastinated to a point where it was too late to do it. And that's why I went with what I talked about today, which is, I think, 2 things that I know that I can talk about, and 2 things that, that might be interesting and at least fits me and my channel. But if you guys have anything different, then definitely let me know right now in the chat, or later in private, or however way. And right now, I guess I'll I actually did not plan how to end the episode, because I thought about different things. I can talk about different things I thought about. I thought about, like, doing something, like, a few things that are more lighthearted, so maybe a few, would you rather's, a few funny or like silly or disturbing would you rather's, and then just bring those up and then talk about it and just have a laugh at some of those and like talk about